whatever you're passionate about, make sure that you have a plan on how to monetize it, because there's nothing like being creative and being broke and not being able to do what you want to do. So as much as I'm creative, as much as I want to just cook and try food all day and cook stuff, I had to find a way to make money doing it so that you can support yourself and really enjoy being in that space. So I would just make sure that the outlook of what they want to do is monetized correctly and smart and realistic.
Thank you, Chef Byron, I know your schedule is jam-packed. I appreciate you making time to come on the show. And just to start us off, for those who may not be familiar with who you are, can you give us a 60-second highlight reel of who you are? A little Chef Byron commercial.
Ooh, okay. 60 seconds. Got to figure out how far to go back. But firstly, thank you for taking the time and wanting to talk to me. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate entrepreneurship at any level. So congratulations to you on your podcast and all that. And many blessings and love to you in your journey on this particular project. So Chef Simone Byron, I started my culinary journey when I was 17 years old, professionally, a work-based learning program in high school in Atlanta, and then went into culinary school at the Art Institute of Atlanta. I started working for Disney, doing a marketing internship, and did some study abroad in Switzerland and Italy, France for about a month, and kind of came back and wanted to go into kind of more of a corporate globalized form of culinary arts. So I stayed and got my bachelor's degree in culinary arts management, and stayed with Disney for about 4 years. And then I left Disney with the chef who actually hired me and brought me over to Compass Group, which is a largest global food service company. And I started working for SunTrust there, doing corporate catering, and Wells Fargo doing corporate catering. And then stayed for about 6 years there before I decided to make a jump over into culinary education. Started teaching at Meadow Creek High School in Gwinnett, which is in the north side of Atlanta, and stayed there for about 10 years, started an internship program, had a really great experience there. It was mind-blowing working with those kids, and it really kind of was a catalyst towards what I'm doing now in the entrepreneurial space. I got some funding and grants through Coca-Cola, really focusing on low-income, high-potential areas, getting minorities involved in executive level food service management, entrepreneurship. And it was a beautiful thing, got a lot of support, and was able to start my own business. And now I own a consulting company and a catering company, and now a nonprofit, really benefiting education and getting kids involved in workforce and making sure that they're prepared to take advantage of the hospitality industry and the many facets that it has, supporting educators and being more impactful and engaging in the classroom and making sure students are ready before they leave that classroom to go into the industry. So it's a pretty well-rounded journey. I don't have a blueprint for it. I don't know what's next, but I know I feel good about the work that I'm doing and the people that I'm impacting. So that's my minute and a half, 2 minutes. I don't know how long that was, but that's the best I could do for you.
That was quite succinct and full. So that was good.
Good.
That was good. So let's rewind just a little bit. So you said you started in the industry when you're about 17. Yep. Was there a moment that you can put your finger on that says, "Ooh, I really love this," or was it just? Did you just find yourself in the environment? You just kept pushing forward, or what? Tell me, was there any kind of like aha moment for you?
Interesting. And nobody ever asked me that. Nobody's ever asked me that question. Actually, my family is deeply rooted in hospitality. My great-grandfather was the executive chef of the Marcus Garvey Black Star Lines. If you're not familiar, it was a back to Africa movement. Marcus Garvey is of Jamaican descent. My family is of Jamaican descent. So the chef was clearly Jamaican. They wanted to have some good food on that boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, that voyage was never cast, but he actually stayed in New York and started the first Black-owned full-service catering company in Bronx, New York. So that was in 1939 that he started that. It's been deeply rooted. It's in my blood. It's a part of my culture, my heritage, and it's always been something that I want to do. I knew I was going to do something around food service. I remember making menus when I was little and doing little things for my family and having little dinners at home. And my mom, she didn't do like to-go food or eat out a lot. She cooked for us all. There's 4 kids and my dad in a household, and we always had family people staying with us all the time. So it was no less than 10 people in the house at all time, and we always had home cooked food. So I came up with the mentality of feeding the masses. And my mother's an excellent educator. Actually featured on Oprah for being a lead teacher in her space. And so the education piece and the culinary piece coming together, I just feel like it's God's grace and gift and blessings for me to be in this space right now. So the aha moment was really, I guess, just kind of being introduced and following what my heart and what I wanted to do. And it's just been guided ever since. I couldn't have written this book or prepared for anything that I'm doing now. But I know I've just had some really great mentorship. I've had great upbringing, great family, great, a lot of great energy behind anything that I've done. And it's just that following my heart has just made it so much easier. So no real aha moment, but just a lot of moments in my life that it made me go a little bit harder with what I do. Losing my mom in 2011, having my son, appreciate that. Having my son in 2007, just seeing my dad retire and having my partner who's dedicated so much of his personal time to what I do, and people just being supportive of me. I know I got to wake up every day and make it shake, baby. Okay. Got too many people invested in it for it not to do what it's doing. So, aha moments every day when I hear talk to the Lord and things happen for me and doors open. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. So it's kind of a constant thing all the time. Something always happens to go to the next thought or next play.
Yep. Okay, so you mentioned a lot in there, and just to unpack it a little bit. So you mentioned family, kind of ties there, and education, and in the culinary arts, hospitality space. You also dropped that word mentorship in there. So I'm curious your thoughts and feelings on how important would you say it is to find mentors to develop, to help development, right? And then also how important is the networking piece and nurturing relationships? What would you say to that?
Girl, it is the foundation and being of everything that I do. And I started using this tag on Instagram called mentorship is underrated. And I say that because, one, people call themselves mentors and call other people mentors, but most times those are acquaintances and people that you work with and people that you talk to. Real mentorship is very, very personal. It's very, very intimate. It's very intricate. It is not listening to somebody, but it's listening, acting, walking with, and seeing through certain things. If it's personal, if it's religious, if it's health-wise, if it's career-wise, there's mentorship on all different levels. And we as a culture, and I mean Black people in particular, we as a culture use the word mentorship way too loosely. There is a huge opportunity we're missing as a culture to mentor and help each other in different spaces. And it's something that we got to get away from and get into, being better mentors. I want to say I have several people that come to mind that are mentors of mine. But in somewhere where I need to write down a name, I probably have one. I would say I got one, maybe two people who I would consider mentors. There are people that was considered a ride or die, a family member that, I was saying I couldn't live with it or couldn't have done certain things without. But mentorship is a particular thing. And I actually wouldn't give a mentor a name of somebody that was like in my family. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a different space. I feel like a mentor should be somebody that's kind of removed from your direct inner circle that can look into what you have and help you to make decisions outside of that. For others, that might be a different story. But I have so many people that have helped and been supportive of me. It's kind of hard for me to narrow that list down. But mentorship, like I said, mentorship is underrated. It's why we have as many issues as we do in our communities. With our young people, you had this whole water boy thing, and have you heard about that? I'm selling the water. Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
water boys and all these programs, and there's my partner was sharing with me. I guess this guy's name, I can't remember his name, but there's somebody that's talking about the lack of mentorship in our communities and that's the demise. So that's part of that is what drives the programs and things that I do in CMS in Atlanta. In the school systems that I support and in my business. So I can't say enough about that. You better ask me something else. So I can go all night on
Okay. So first of all, I guess it's the second of all, because we're into the conversation now. I do want to say that I admire your get to itness, the passion. And I almost hesitate to say the word hustle because it can have a negative connotation, but I admire everything, that I see and hear you doing, which is one of the reasons I said, man, I got to snag Chef for the podcast. Yeah. But you mentioned also that there was really no blueprint kind of for how you ended up where you are. Let's just say hypothetically, one of your students or one of the kids you work with in your program came to you and said, I want to do what you do. Like I maybe they're echoing what I'm saying. Like, man, I see what you're doing. You hustle, you getting it, Chef. I want to do that. How would you guide that student? Like, what are the first couple of things you would tell them to do to kind of start elevating?
That's a good question. I want to answer that without rambling, because that's one of those things that one thought leads to another, and I'll be here talking all day. I really would advise that student to get to know themselves first in their space and get passionate about what they want to do and try to block out as much outside influence as they can and just get into themselves, because everything I do is a natural thing for me. People see there's a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not a lot of work, but I feel like I would do it if I didn't need money and I need to support my family, I would do it. I would do it for free. Now that statement about if I do something that you didn't have to get paid for, you would do it anyway. That statement has gotten a little loose. You know what I mean? You've got a little, well, I would sleep all day. I love to sleep. I'll sleep all day if I could. Like, okay, ma'am, but that wasn't the point of the conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it to me, it really is about knowing what excites you and what makes you happy, and what you can get up every day and feel good about. The truth behind all that, even if you have something that you can get up and do every day, there's always going to be a day that you're like, man, this is not what I call for, and to know that it's okay to have those days. But in an entrepreneurship standpoint, it's I was just talking to my aunt today about financially being healthy and financial literacy and making sure that you can support yourself. So I would, at the beginning, always advise them, whatever you're passionate about, make sure that you have a plan on how to monetize it, because there's nothing like being creative and being broke and not being able to do what you want to do. So as much as I'm creative, as much as I want to just cook and try food all day and cook stuff, I had to find a way to make money doing it so that you can support yourself and really enjoy being in that space. So I would just make sure that the outlook of what they want to do is monetized correctly and smart and realistic. you know, that's a round and about, but there's so many different things that go into that comment and that answer. You know, there's culture, there's people, there's you know, there's outside influences, there's education, there's things that they should be reading, people they should be following on Instagram, you know, there's all kinds of things I would, and that's why we just talked about mentorship. It ain't going to be one answer to the question I can give somebody. I would need to say, hey, I can mentor you if you're serious. You know what I mean?
So yeah. let's I want to shift gears just a little bit. So you mentioned the people piece, and so when I hear people thinking about, oh, I want to get a food truck, I want to cater, I want to get a restaurant or a lounge or a bar or something, it sounds sexy, right? It's like, yeah, I want to, if they have zero experience in the space, I'm always like, maybe go work in somebody's restaurant for like 6 months, you know. But you mentioned people, and it's so important. I was reading through your bio, and I saw that you were also when you're, I believe, with Compass, a multi-unit manager, right? And then I see now your team is growing, right? Shout out to Mimi, right? So the team is growing. So talk about the people piece. I don't think they also think about, you have to manage people, train people, know how to talk to people, you know, and all that stuff. How important is that skill set?
Communication is key. Communication is key. You know, I had the privilege of having parents that were very, very, very keen on making sure that we were communicating well through writing and being verbal and being confident in our space of communication. Sometimes it's something that comes naturally. Sometimes it's something that needs to be taught, and sometimes it's something that needs to be practiced. I cannot say enough about communication. My partner now is, you know, that is like 90% of what he does for our organization is to communicate properly, either through written or creative, like pagers or press releases or communication verbally. There's a whole space for that. Being able to be articulate about what you don't understand, or knowing how to ask the right questions, or knowing how to talk to people from different backgrounds that you're not familiar with is very important. And how you tackle that is being in different spaces with different people and being quiet. Being quiet first, being silent first, and watching and observing and saying, oh, okay, gotta be quiet for a while. You gotta just close your mouth and listen to how people are communicating with each other. And then you pick up little gems from people on how you want to articulate, and you get into your space. So you guys, saying you guys, but Tasha, you know, you've met Genevieve before. She's one of the best communicators that I know. And she does a masterful job of being able to read the room and make people feel comfortable and making people respond to her. I know you felt that before when you've been there. She's going to make you talk to her. She's going to make you communicate. So there's gifts. There's some people that are quiet that you won't hear much from, but want to be helpful and might come talk to me and off to the side. And that might be, you know, what they do. And I meet them where they are. But communication is huge. Networking is the only way that I've been able to be successful. I don't market my business. I don't have a whole bunch of Byron Hospitality flyers that I put up and a huge Instagram following of Byron Hospitality at all. But I've managed to grow my business in 4 different markets now, between Atlanta and Charlotte. And it's only been because of, you know, people speaking about the work that we're doing and the communication that we use to talk about what we're doing. And it's done wonders. Networking is the key to everything that I do, including the mentorship piece that we just talked about.
Dropping gems. She says sometimes you gotta be quiet.
You gotta shut that up, baby. Gotta shut that mouth.
Ooh, let's go, Chef. Let's go. So you got a lot of different legs to your business from what I'm gathering. Is the Navigate program the most recent addition? Is that I saw
the oldest edition.
Really? Tell me a little bit about it. And then also I want to know what's the I was gonna say also I want to know what's the newest piece, but let's start there with Navigate.
Yeah, Navigate started when I was a teacher at Gwinnett, like in 2000 and think 14. I started that internship program with Coca-Cola Foundation when I was teaching. So I started it when I was in the classroom, grew it over about 3 or 4 years, and then when I left teaching, I took the program with me. So that was one of my stipulations of starting it there, is that when I left, it comes with me. They can model it or mock after it or do it, but when it's yours, it's yours. Nobody can do what you can do, and I left with that, and I put it under my own business, and then I started to market it to school districts to do within their buildings and with their students. So I did a pretty good job of photographing and videos and having people to speak about the program so that they had the collateral to be able to tell the story in a better way. So that was I guess I want to say that's 7 years now that I've been building the program to what it is now. The newest juncture I want to say will be the nonprofit piece of it. And those are pretty much like activations where we're doing just small engagement programs throughout the country. We might go to Detroit, we might go to Chicago, and go to an area in Florida and partner with a company or program to do just a demo or a cooking lab where they can meet somebody that looks like them that's cooking in their area and get excited about the industry, get excited about doing well. And that's basically what I'm really looking forward to. I've got a couple of relationships I'm building now to be able to engage different parts of the country that I've been wanting to get to. And so it's really exciting to be in a space where people trust my work enough now to really be giving some funding towards doing more. So that's the most exciting part, doing more work, to impacting more people.
Okay. I like it. Okay. So I only have maybe 2 more questions. I don't want to hold you too long. But I'm curious, you do a lot of work with young people and educators of young people in this space, and they're the future, right? So I'm curious, when you think about the future of culinary arts and hospitality, let's say the near future, the next 5 to 10 years or so, what are some things you see shifting? Like, do you have any predictions about how things will change? What will stay the same? I know COVID impacted us greatly, even how we moving in, in food and beverage and stuff. And some things probably will never go back to how they were before. But what are some predictions or things that you see shifting in the next 5 to 10 years or so?
Right off the top of my head, the first thing I want to say is technology, and the inclusion of it within the industry. Maybe just through, the development of POS machines or, touch screens for people to come in and order. The lack of face-to-face customer service, the growing need for convenience in the food service space is growing. So I see taking a customer to actual products really being squeezed to not so many steps. You walk into a restaurant, you look at a menu, you wait, you talk to somebody, you give them the order, they take the order, they put the order in the machine, and the machine spits out the ticket, then the ticket goes to the cook prepares the meal. Sometimes it goes to what's the specs are on the ticket, sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of room for human error in there. And then then they put that food in the box, and the box goes back to the window, and the person at the window gives to the customer, and the customer goes and sit down. There's a lot that happens during a transition of placing an order. And I think the increase in the need for convenience and speed of food service is going to eliminate some of those steps to where they can just walk in and order through their phone, order through an app, and just pick that food up. But then you lose the customer service and the front-facing customer service of what I think is the heart of hospitality, is the people. And so it's a little, at first it's concerning because you think of the lack of workforce that's going to be needed, but you also think of it as that's going to increase volume because it's going to be easier for people to order. So then you're going to just get an increase in the need of people that are going to be in the kitchen space to produce the orders. So then I kind of got I felt a little bit better about that when I thought through it. The other thing that I think is going to increase is the footprint of international cuisine on a more authentic level. You're seeing a lot more street food concept pop up. You're seeing a lot more original cuisine. You know, by the time it gets here, Asian food, Spanish food, Mexican food, Caribbean food, it's changed into a whole different cuisine. And I think that as we grow and become more diverse and more inclusive in our environments, and just the platform of diversity inclusion taking forefront in so many of corporations around the country and the world, I think food is going to be one of the things that tie people together. I've done several different programs over the last year for corporations just to really bring people together over food, especially over the Juneteenth holiday becoming more of a staple in a national holiday in America. So there's different platforms for people to connect. So I don't see hospitality going anywhere. I think it's transforming. I think of course the need for workforce is going to be there no matter what. I think the quality and the focus of the workforce is what's going to change. And that is why I've been putting so much emphasis on bringing back classical hospitality, front-facing customer service, because when people get that, the true essence of it, it really is exciting to see the experience of guest change. And I think it's fulfilling. And I want to make sure the students understand how that feels too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Spot on. Definitely growth in technology. And, it's important for us to be somewhat fluid and kind of roll with it, be aware of what's going on, and then be able to teach to that. So I think you're spot on there. So last thing I kind of want to ask you is give me a peek into your goals. Like what's next from Chef Byron? I know you mentioned there's some areas you want to visit and stuff. So tell us, what can we expect? What's the next big thing?
I talked to I had some really great conversations today, but I didn't have a blueprint getting into this. I don't have a blueprint going out. But what I am looking forward to is seeing where all the things that I have on the table now are going to take me. I'm paying a lot of attention to the people who are supporting me and have supported and have a vested interest in what I do, and making sure that I capitalize on that on several different fronts. But for me, just growing the program, being able to impact larger groups of people. Of course, I want to travel. I want Navigate program to be in every state. I want to be a part of Compass Group in a more strategic way. I'm just excited about growth and motivated by the amount of growth that there is available for me, and the support that is available to young people, and not just young people, but people that may have lost their way and need something to attach to, people that are coming out of tough situations that might need some guidance and some of that much needed mentorship that we talked about. So I think that I have a solution for several different talent pools, and I'm excited about getting the support to be active in those. So no blueprint, just working, expanding, becoming an international force. I've had so much success and growth over the last 2 years that now I'm even more ambitious, because I see how fast things can grow. So it's kind of scared, man. So I was scared. I was telling my partner before, I said, man, you better get off this ship. But I feel like I'm about to go crazy over here. Like, I have no seatbelt on, man. We just rolling. We flying by the seat of our pants every day in it. But the Lord is providing me some great support to keep doing what I'm doing. So I got no complaints. Just growth, exponential growth over time. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Good stuff. So if there's anything you want to say to take us out, I mean, that was pretty impactful. I appreciate that. But tell us how, if anybody's watching this, is inspired by your story and what you're doing and they want to reach out to you, tell us how they can reach out to you. And then if there's any last words you want to end this on a good note, then have at it.
Yeah. Please follow me on Instagram, Chef Simone Byron. It's my IG handle. I'm on Facebook. Not as active on there, but I'm still on there. Got an account on there. Follow me. I don't, just leaving out. One of the best things that happened to me was forming a relationship with the Lord. I've never been a diehard, religious person. We didn't grow up like that in my family, just spiritual people. But I advise everybody, whatever spiritual being that you're devoting your time to lock into that. It's been monumental for me. And paying attention to what's happening around you, making good choices, never entering a situation that doesn't feel right. Normally your gut feeling is the right feeling. So pay attention to yourself, pay attention to the people who are around you, and be a good person in the dark when you're by yourself. We had that conversation today too. Don't be a good person in front of people and then do something different in the shadows. So when you're alone and when you're by yourself, be a good person. Be a good person, do the right thing. So I'll leave you with that.
That's good, Chef. I appreciate you so much. Folks, make sure y'all follow Chef Byron. Phenomenal person. I've had the opportunity to be in her presence in person and learn from her. So I don't bring anybody on the show that I don't genuinely have an interest in talking to, have a conversation with, and can vouch for her. So definitely appreciate your time. And that's all, folks.